over my shoulder. This is the aorta right here. So the ascending is very, very short, and then it arches, and then the descending heads down that way, and that's what we pick up here, right? So it's the descending all the way down. So then you have the brachiocephalic right here, which has some branches that I'll let you find. And then you have the left subclavian right here, okay? So I'll let you find the branches up here off of the brachiocephalic, and that should take care of almost everything up here. And then, like I said, we've just got some gaps to fill in down here.
Chicken foot?
Yeah, the little chicken foot, that's exactly what I call it. Okay, well, first of all, tell me if this is gonna be right or left.
It says right.
Correct. So these, yeah, exactly right. So the right subclavian is the far.
That's
yes.
what I was thinking, because it goes to branchial.
There you go. It sure does. It sure does. So this is your right carotid here, common carotid, and this is your left common carotid, and they are both going up into the neck. Okay. And then your left subclavian, notice it comes off separately. It couldn't be easy and be symmetrical. That would have been too easy, right? So there, and it changes as well. So both subclavians become axillary, which become brachial. So what I will have you do as soon as we finish talking about whatever we have to talk about down here, the only cutting left to do is, I would probably do this one, I just think it'll be easier, is to follow this subclavian out here and into the arm. There it is, just to show you there. The aorta that did not stain pink. Right there. See how it's just kind of gray? But then you get down here and it's nice and pink. I have no explanation for that, because look, that's nice and pink, right? You know, so I don't know why, but it just didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't stain very well right there. But that's the aorta traveling on down there. This is the celiac, like you just said. That's the first branch off. And so then you are going to follow that and just to find all those branches. You're just going to kind of pick away at the connective tissue. Here's your second branch off of the aorta, which is the cranial mesenteric. And then you'll just keep going, and following. It does. And then you'll just keep following all the way down. All right, all right. So remember I said we had a little bit of situation where the pink didn't, for whatever reason it lost a dye. So under ideal circumstances, this would be the same color as this, right? That artificial pink. This is the cranial mesenteric artery. Mesentery refers to all of this connective tissue that holds the intestines together, okay? So it's heading to the intestines, cranial, of course, towards the head. This guy down here, parallel to, but a little bit smaller, is the caudal mesenteric. Again, going to the intestines, but down towards the tail. Right, exactly. And so do you see where it says cranial mesenteric becomes the middle colic, becomes the left colic, becomes the caudal mesenteric? I hold in my hand the colon. Exactly. So that's where we're going. So we are literally following this vessel. Look, I can even show you where it starts to pick up the pink again. See how it's blue, kind of bluish gray here, and then all of a sudden, oh, look, hey, there's pink, okay? And so we're following this vessel all the way around, and then it's connecting here again. So I tell people it's 840 around Nashville, right? Okay, and it comes back and connects again. So the cranial mesenteric is the part that is not attached to the colon. Once it attaches to the colon, it becomes the middle colic, go about halfway. This is another one of those places where it's like, I don't know exactly where it is, about halfway. The second half, left colic. And then when it exits the connective tissue of the colon, now you're back to caudal mesenteric, back to the aorta there. Good? Makes sense, yeah. Okay. All right. So this is your what? Yes, exactly right.
And then we have the first branch, which is the hepatic on top of the stomach, I think.
So the word hepatic means what? Any thoughts?
No thoughts.
Or let me rephrase that. If it's going to the stomach, take a look at those names up there and tell me which one you think is going to the stomach.
Gastric.
Yeah. So the one on top of the stomach is probably not the hepatic.
Okay.
But let me look around a minute here. The hepatic and the gastric are right right together. They're very close together. So I bet that's what, yes, I see them. All right. I see what you're saying. There is a lot of connective tissue in here that looks a whole lot like blood vessels, and I see why you were scared.
Everything's pink.
Everything's pink. But this is brighter pink.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, see it?
It's the artificial pink.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly what it is. Okay, so do you see those two coming up? So like we talked about, the first one, meaning the first one that branches off, is the hepatic, because what happens is it dives under the stomach. This is the liver here. And then this guy that you thought was the hepatic is actually the gastric. That's right.
Okay.
That's right, because this is the stomach that I'm holding back. Actually, to make things more confusing, left gastric and then just regular gastric.
Oh, fun.
I don't know why. And I don't know where the right gastric is. Don't ask me that. So celiac here, it gives off the hepatic and the left gastric.
And then splenic.
The splenic is technically the third branch. So if we think of it like the celiac's here, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
So the celiac ends right here and branches into 3 things. 1, 2, 3. So this is the splenic.
And it's
The splenic gives off the gastric, and then the only thing I don't see yet, there it is.
Oh, wow.
See
Just
your
popped right out.
So
anterior,
anterior would be closer to
the
you,
head.
Caitlin, right? Closer to the head, and then right posterior there. Right?
okay.
Oh, there's
Excellent.
only two?
Do you see?
This?
There's little tiny branches, but don't worry
we
about
don't
that.
care.
Just pretend
Okay.
like that's not there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably literally a branch of the. Don't worry about that. Yeah, those the big fork there.
Okay.
This
Good.
is the
Just
cranial
anterior.
mesenteric.
That is the cranial mesenteric. Let me grab a chair and get in there and show. We talked about
Celiac.
this. We talked about this.
Yes.
You were filling in other things.
Yes.
What have we found? What do we need?
So these we're trying to
Mhm.
identify correctly. Adrenolumbar
Right.
is the topmost, I
It
think.
is. So what's the word that means kidney?
Renal.
Yeah.
But there's
So
a left and a right.
oh well, that's because there's a left and a right kidney
Oh, okay, cool.
down
That's
here.
why we were like,
yep.
"Duh."
Gotcha. You were only seeing one. Yes. So there's your renal artery. In this case, the left one. And if you don't have to find the right one. It's fine. It's down here somewhere. But that's your renal artery. And then you are correct. This little guy right here, because this thing right here, that little bean. Let me try to make this
Maybe
a
that's
little.
a capillary bed.
What's that?
That little thing. I've been
No,
saying I
it's-
wish I could see a capillary bed.
Oh
here.
no, you can't. I mean, too small. Especially on the cat. No, that is the adrenal gland
Okay.
right there. And so this blood vessel, what you really can't see terribly well is it's actually coursing over it and then landing in the back, hence the adrenolumbar. Right. Renal there, good. We continue down. You said genital, right? Genital are these strings, little stringy things, that guy right there, and this one's even better because you have a girl. Did we know that already? I can't remember
I
if we
don't
knew that.
remember.
Okay. Because what I'm holding between my fingers right there is the ovary, and this is the uterus. So do you see that it's coming over? I don't want to rip this connective tissue too much. I'm afraid I'll mess it up. But see the pink right there?
Yeah.
It's coming over to the ovary.
It's coming off the aorta.
And that's coming off of the aorta. So that is your genital or ovarian, yeah. Okay? And then you head on down. Tell me about, we'll come back in a minute, but tell me about this, what's going on down here. Or did we look at this yet?
We did look at it.
Mm-hmm. Looked at it. That's fine.
That's where
That is absolutely fine. You know, this is a place.
Back around to mesenteric.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That
the
is, but I'm
aorta.
talking about deeper than that.
Oh, no.
Yes. No, you're right. The mesentery, yes, that's exactly right. But what I'm looking at is, Emma, can you see?
Yeah.
You might have to come over my shoulder. Can you see the double V right there? So we've got this V right there, and then the aorta continues a little bit more, and we have another V, okay? The first V is the external iliac arteries.
Okay.
So you have a left and a right external iliac. Then the aorta goes a little bit more, and then you have internal iliacs.
So that actually does make sense.
Good.
What about the
Good.
ileals?
So, well, there aren't. any. There's no.
says
Oh,
deep
deep
ileal.
ileal. Deep
Yeah,
ileal. That's
sorry.
different than ileal. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Are we good with the external and internal iliacs? And
Yes.
then the external iliac comes in here, comes down here, and when it comes into the leg, it changes names and it's now the femoral. Because of
Femoral.
exactly femur. Yeah. So that's there. And then somewhere in here, we can usually find the deep femoral, which, as you might guess, just comes off and goes down deep in. It dives. Pop this little guy because we don't need him. I can see it. I'm just trying to get it a little more. There. Do you see that thing coming off right there? And it's diving down into the muscle. That's the deep femoral. Okay? The deep ilial circumflex is the only one I think that we were missing. And that is, do you see that there's an artery, a pair of arteries right here that are perfectly perpendicular to the aorta, where everything else is coming off at an angle, right? Those are your deep ilial circumflex, because your ilium bone is down here, right? So it's heading down that way. But the way I identify it is looking for
Parallel.
yes, instead of being at an angle. Exactly.